Thank you, and welcome to our presentation on the facts behind the figures. I am Doreen Awanga, the company secretary, and with me we have Ajay next to me, and on my far left we have Frederick Akoza. This is a team that will be taking you through our recently published audited accounts for the year 2021-2022. I'll hand over to our CEO to take over the presentation.
Thank you, Doreen, and welcome to each one of you. And thank you for joining this call, as well as I wish that you and your families are remaining safe. Go to the next slide, please. It's just a disclaimer talking about the information what we're going to share. I'm going to go to the next slide. And we'd like to welcome you with this video. As we say that other than just saving lives and taking care of people's health, we also create a lot of awareness on the different therapy areas and some of the biggest endemics in Africa. It's just a video we launched on the World Malaria Day, providing information on malaria and how we can prevent it. Thank you. And it was more relevant because a big portion of our business is focused on delivering treatments and saving lives from malaria in the African continent. Coming back to our last year's numbers, reflected on the screen, our revenue declined with respect to last year by 6%. But when we take a base business and remove the exceptions what we had in the last year, it grew by 3%. We continue to see momentum in our local Uganda sales, as well as we continue to see momentum in institutional buyer sales as well. What we have seen declining is sales with respect to other government and the opportunities which we received in the last year due to COVID. I would also want to highlight this drop is on the backdrop of last year's significant growth in terms of revenue of 48%. In terms of profit, we have done incredibly well, and it was one of the focus area for management in last year to bring the business to profit. Our EBITDA margin with respect to last year grew by 18%, and if we remove exceptions, it grew by 16%. And same reflects in our net profit margin as well, which grew by 13%. And if we remove any exceptions, it grew by 12% as a base business. Bringing to some of the highlights, what we have seen in the last year, as I have alluded to that, our focus last year was primarily to turn around the profitability. As most of you are aware that we were making loss from a couple of years, but this year is the first year where we have turned around and we made a significant profit. At an EBITDA level, we reflected $13.7 million as profit versus last year negative $2.2 million. Other than EBITDA, we worked a lot on our people practices, and we won in Prudential Best HR Award in reward and recognition category. We were also second runner-up in the financial reporting for the last year's cycle. We in the full year shared that how we are shaping our portfolio strategies, and we have introduced 3 new products locally manufactured in Uganda: azithromycin 500 mg, Cipladon Plus, and Q-tip. We had made long progress again in last year to recover a long outstanding Zambia debt. And we're happy to report that out of the total outstanding, $5.3 million, which is close to 50%, has been paid by government of Zambia in last year. And we are hoping, given the engagement we had with government of Zambia, as well as the progress we made, that the balance amount will be collected also pretty soon. Apart from the financial metrics, we have also aggressively worked to improve our certifications. And we're happy to report that in last year, the CiplaQCIL business is certified ISO 19001, 14001, and 45001. Our long-term growth is being underpinned with our MOU, which we have signed with government of Uganda to manufacture and supply anti-cancer, sickle cell anemia and tuberculosis products. And we were also happy to report that we have settled payments of overdue, which were long pending with the business. Go next page. I will now invite our CFO, Fred Kakuza, to take us through details on financials.
Good afternoon, investors. Thank you very much, Ajay. I would like to start from where we knocked off last time at H1 and present how our second half of the year has been. I'm comparing our performance of second year to that we had in the previous year, that is financial year 2021. Our revenue closed in at 143 billion compared to 161 billion in the previous year, which was a decline of about 9%. But when you look at our EBITDA level, EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. We closed at a healthy 37 billion compared to 17 billion last year. So the traction that we started last year has now even moved more in terms of profitability, as the CEO mentioned. Our EBITDA as a fraction of revenue was 26% compared to 11% in the previous year, registering an improvement in that margin by about 15%. In the second half, our profit after tax was about 21 billion compared to 6 billion in the previous year, which is about 250%. In terms of margins, our net profit margin or part as a percentage of revenue was 15% compared to 4% in the previous year, registering an increase of 11%. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to draw your attention to some cores of our business. We have both local sales and we also export part of our products to other countries to treat patients in those countries. So out of the 143 billion that we sold in the second half of the year, 110 was sold to customers in Uganda, and the balance 33 was exported to patients out of Uganda in Africa. Next slide. I would like now to show a picture of the full year position. Our full year revenue for the year financial year 2022 was 267 billion compared to 285 billion in the previous year, recording a 6% reduction. As mentioned earlier, this was mainly because the COVID opportunities that came up in the previous year did not recur this year. So when you look at our base revenue, we actually registered an increase of 3% if you exclude the exceptions as previously presented. Our EBITDA closed at 48 billion compared to 1 billion, registering an increase of over 100% when you compare the two periods. Our EBITDA as a fraction of revenue was 18% compared to almost zero in the previous year, registering a leap of about 18%. This year, our profit after tax was 24 billion compared to a loss of 11 billion in the previous year, still registering a profit of over 100%. When you look at the net profit margin, or what we call part as a percentage of revenue, it is 9% compared to a loss position of 4% in the previous year. I would like to break down the revenue between exports and what we consume locally. And the 267 out of the 267 billion that we sold in the previous year, 187 was sold on the local markets, and 80 billion was exported to other countries in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take you through our financial ratios. These financial ratios indicate a healthy improvement in they indicate a heavy improvement in the